Hey there. Good morning, good afternoon, I guess good evening, whatever time you might be watching. My name is Jake Query. That is Derek Schultz. It is the incredibly creatively and appropriately named and no longer charitably award-winning Query and Schultz program here on ISC Sports Network. Derek, I used to say we were charitably award-winning because we were awarded top on-air personalities for iHeartRadio Indianapolis, and then they let all of us go. So that doesn't hold up anymore.
Oh, no, it holds up.
No, we didn't even hold that title for a year.
Yeah.
They gave it to us in like December and then blew us out in January.
Not how awards work, though.
No, it kind of is.
Like Kevin Mitchell will always be a Major League Baseball MVP.
No, I don't think so.
He won the award. You can't take that away from him. Who's the kicker that won? The Redskins guy?
Mosley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was MVP, right?
Yeah, barefooted fella.
Yeah.
I didn't like him because he's barefoot. Why do people go barefoot on an airplane? Cover your dogs on a plane.
Just in public in general. Like, unless you're actually literally on the beach, cover your feet up.
Do you always wear glasses on the show?
Yeah.
Always?
Of course, it's part of my brand.
Are they new? Are they new glasses? I brought my glasses
Are they
today.
new glasses?
They look different.
We've seen each other every week for like the last 10 years.
My glasses feel crooked. Are they crooked?
No, they're fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think they're crooked.
Are we going to talk about the show today?
Sure. Why not? What do we got?
Well, you give the rundown.
It's Monday.
Have you ever hosted this show before?
My brain is mush. It's Monday. I'm coming off a long weekend.
We've got a lot to get to today. College basketball's regular season has wrapped up, and now the madness is about to ensue here in Indianapolis. In fact, starting, I think as we speak or about to speak, the Horizon League tournament is the first of the Indianapolis events to kick off. So I don't know if we're specifically going to talk about the Horizon League tournament, but just the fact that we're going to have like 93 whatever games in however many days here in Indianapolis, going to be crazy. I'm really, really excited about it. The only big bummer, Jake, is the fact that we're only really outside of the league tournaments going to have one Indiana team involved, and that's going to be Purdue.
Right. And Purdue, look, Purdue and Indiana, I'm sure we'll talk plenty about it. And we've mentioned this, Derek, but you got to give credit to Purdue because, sure, are some of their freshmen red shirt freshmen? Okay, great. But guys that are in their first year of being on the floor, they've gotten better as the year's gone on. And they literally now, what have they had? 3 different conference freshman player of the weeks at different intervals. And it's all come together for Matt Painter's team. Do I think that Purdue is poised for a Final Four run? No, that would be aggressive. But to get a win or two in the month of March or in the NCAA tournament or maybe make a run in the Big Ten tournament, I think that's possible for Purdue. They're going and moving in a direction that I think if you're a Purdue fan, you've got to be pleased with.
Oh, for sure. Next year should be the big year, and that's what makes this year so exciting is that there's an aura kind of house money, I think, moving forward for Purdue. So we'll talk Boilers, we'll talk Hoosiers. They lose to Purdue for whatever it is, the 93rd time in a row, 94th.
Can I ask you a question about basketball?
Yeah, sure. I'm an expert, so
okay.
Yes.
I don't want this to come off the wrong way because people are going to think that I'm trying to be like the COVID mask police. I get it. Fortunately, and, over the weekend, I was able to take the car through and see the vaccination that's taking place at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Like 17,000 people were vaccinated. And, nearly 1 in 8 adults, I think, right now in the state of Indiana has been vaccinated. So I understand.
The numbers are great. Yeah.
They are. And Indiana's done a great job. I get all of that. I do worry a little bit, and I don't want to be like over the top about it because I get both sides of it. I have gone out to dinner nearly every Friday and Saturday night at restaurants for 3 months now. You've got the choice. You go. I've gone to places where it was too crowded, and I thought I'm a little uncomfortable with that and left. Other places I thought they look like they're doing this responsibly. I've eaten dinner. Knock on wood, I have not had issue with that. So people should have, I get it, free will, choice, etc. But still, I thought that there was limitation of, hey, if you want to come out and watch basketball or whatever else, we're giving you that choice, but we're going to limit or we're going to distance people until we are comfortable that everything's 100% safe and that this pandemic is behind us. There's no question light at the end of the tunnel, Derek. But over the weekend, I saw a video of different games throughout the state of Indiana, and it was like they were filming the movie Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Like and I'm saying this not angrily or rhetorically, but like, did they just lift the?
It depends on where you are. There are different county mandates for different counties in Indiana. For instance, I was at Tech, and I felt like they did a really nice job of. I think they had 1,500 or something like that capacity, and people distance, and felt like they had masks on and all of that. And then I saw a video from North Davies, and I was like, oh wow, this. I thought it was an archive video.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like you. Don't lock yourself in a bunker. I'm a personal freedom guy. Go. make personal choices and live your life, but I still think that we need to have some tact in handling this. We can't just pretend like it's over.
Right.
I think we're on the backside
There
of
are
it,
certainly
but we can't
areas,
pretend that it's over.
There are areas where it looks like they're kind of pretending it's over. But
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And people get tired of it. We're a full year this week. In fact, we'll be a full year into this thing.
I look washed out. Did you see that last camera shot? I look kind of washed. Is it the glasses? Is it the gray hair? I look washed out, don't I? Do we need powder? Can we get the powder, people?
We don't have that here.
You look washed out a lot. But, like, even in
I
these lights,
disagree.
like, typically I have, like, a little bit of a kind of a sexy glow to me.
Yeah.
I don't feel it today.
Sometimes I feel like my shoulders and neck look a little too muscular, like when I rewatch it,
Okay.
and then I worry about, you having to sit next to me because then it makes you look obviously significantly less
You've been
muscular.
doing some lifting.
Just my regular stuff. I mean, it's really just my natural.
Let me ask
build
you
now.
this. 6 months from now, who is going to be doing the heavy lifting of leading the Indiana University basketball program?
Oh, God. I think at this point, at least, Jake, we know that it's over. Sometimes coaching decisions and whether or not to fire a coach are hard. I think, let's say the Pacers. Good example. The last two people that they let go, I know Frank Vogel technically wasn't renewed, but they decided not to bring him back. That was a difficult decision, right? Frank Vogel did a pretty nice job. He's done a really
could've
nice
gone either
job.
way. With
Won
Frank- with-
NBA champion as a Lakers head coach.
Right.
Nate McMillan, too. You know that I was not a fan of Nate McMillan, but Nate McMillan did an admirable job. Like, he didn't,
Right.
I didn't think was a fireable type job, but they wanted to move on, and that was a defensible decision. This decision is easy. Archie Miller is not the guy. He's never going to be the guy. He's in over his head. 12-14 is completely and totally unacceptable in year number 4. I don't care how good the Big Ten is. 12-14 and 7-12, that ain't going to cut it. Not good enough.
I had people get upset with me over the weekend because I simply sent a tweet that said, I can never remember if it's Lenny or Squiggy that he looks like from Laverne and Shirley. You probably don't even know the TV show.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ziggy, like, of the comics?
No, Lenny and Squiggy. On Laverne and Shirley, there's the two characters, Lenny and Squiggy. And he looks like one of them, and I can never remember whether Lenny's the tall one or Squiggy's the tall one.
Are those the two women that drive their car off a cliff or whatever?
No, that's Thelma and Louise. Laverne and Shirley. It's Penny Marshall. She wears the L. She drinks Pepsi and milk together. They live in Milwaukee.
They
And
work
they've
at a
got-
factory, and she puts the glove on the bottle.
Yeah,
and they do that?
Yeah,
Is that
that's
what it
Laverne
is?
and Shirley, yep. And they've got two guys that live in their floor or something or are friends with them named Lenny and Squiggy. Funny guys. And they're in the 50s, so they – but
I
he looks
didn't
like –
understand the
and I can
reference.
never remember which one is the one that Archie Miller looks like. And then it's now been pointed out to me it was Squiggy. But I sent a tweet just simply saying, I can never remember if it's Lenny or Squiggy, the one he looks like. And people got all bent out of shape about it.
I can never keep up with who gets mad at you
How
on the internet.
defensively, how weird defensive do you have to be of somebody? Well, Archie's he's got family that.
Look,
It's not even a knock on him. I didn't say anything bad about Squiggy.
I
He
sent a
just looks like one.
tweet for the second year in a row that Purdue's graduating class will have experienced never losing to Indiana if you're a 4-year graduate of Purdue, kind of like last year, and then, of course, the class of 2021 because of this 9-game winning streak. And somebody replied, well, that's the pinnacle of Purdue's existence. And then I was like, I looked at their avatar, and it was the IU Kentucky game from 2011. I was like, speaking of pinnacles.
Yeah.
And I made a joke about it, and even IU fans replied and were like, hey, man, you got him pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to take everything so seriously. It's just a joke.
A fella named Jim Reamer, he called me a male organ.
I saw that, yeah.
I thought that was a little much.
I did see that one.
Seemed a little sensitive.
Again, I just don't know why people have to take things so seriously.
Right.
I mean, yours was a joke, albeit a bad one, but it was a joke. It was a very dated, 50-year-old joke.
It really wasn't a joke. I legitimately was simply pointing out, fun at myself, of the fact that I can never remember which one's Lenny and which one's Squiggy.
And to be honest, in 2021, of all the things to be offended by, a short joke.
I didn't even say he's short, Derek.
No, but that was the implication, right? That he took from it.
No, he looks
Or
like the guy.
He inferred that.
Right, but so he took his own guilty conscience and pinned it on me. I didn't say that.
Again,
Simply,
Jake,
of those two guys, one of them looks like Squiggy. He looks like the actor that plays Squiggy. And I'm like, I can never remember which one's Lenny, which one's Squiggy.
If we had to unpack
One is
every
taller than the other. Yes,
Twitter
that's true.
controversy that involves you, where people got mad at you on every show, we wouldn't have time for sports. We wouldn't have time for anything else.
Okay.
So we really can't go through this every single week.
You know, it's little blogger boy. That's what it is.
Okay, well, see, I don't want to touch on that either.
Okay, so a month ago, Derek, I would have said that Archie Miller. As a matter of fact,
We did say that he was safe, right?
It was
a month ago?
basically told to me a month ago. Look, COVID is going to protect Archie Miller because Indiana simply does not have the funding to come up with the money necessary for his buyout, unless it came from an outside party. Keep in mind, actually, Sam Rumpsa pointed this out to me. It's a great point. The athletic director at Indiana University's original job at IU was he was the head of the fundraising arm of the athletic department. This guy can go out and shake down some cash. Clearly, Indiana must have come up with some money because they just gave Tom Allen an extension at nearly $5 million a year. And I'm not saying Tom Allen doesn't deserve that. But when are these schools going to start learning, in particular Indiana, about premature extensions? Tom Allen did a wonderful job. Do not get me wrong. At one point, Indiana, Derek, was paying Tom Crean, Kelvin Sampson, and Bob Knight simultaneously. At what point do you say, you know what, like the extensions, the Crean thing? I mean, Tom Crean, they wrote out probably further than they should have, and things got really messy towards the end there because it was more important to Fred Glass after one season of bringing Tom Crean into the football game arm in arm and being the big hero and the big cheerleader boy and fanboy and whatever else. And I'll give him credit for running Kevin Wilson out as soon as he discovered that there was something going on and bringing Tom Allen in. And Tom Allen has exceeded expectation and proved my doubts wrong. No doubt about it. He's done a wonderful job. But his recruiting has been good so far. But again, is he going to be able to sustain it for 4 or 5 years? Or 4 or 5 years, are you going to say, oh, my gosh, we're stuck with this guy?
I think it's almost I get what you're saying. This talk about athletic departments and money.
What does Purdue think about the fact they've got
almost
Jeff
like,
Brom as the ninth
well,
highest
true.
coach in the league?
But it's almost like the national
country.
deficit where, we talk about this and it's like,
I don't disagree.
These athletic departments print money. So – okay, sure, they take a temporary hit with the COVID stuff. They're going to start churning out millions of dollars all over again. And I think, Jake, it's almost more the gesture than anything else. Even if this fails, this shows that Indiana is serious about football.
Does he not look like Squiggy?
Okay, well, we still got Archie on the mind there.
I'm just saying.
The
I don't
Tom Allen deal shows
so
that
offended.
Indiana is serious. Can you believe that Indiana's paying their head football coach $5 million? Like, did you ever think that we'd live to see that happen? So I'm actually thrilled just with the gesture of doing it.
That's not outrageous money in college football.
No, more so than focused on, if this doesn't work out. Because to me, Tom Allen is a guy who deeply loves the state. He's rooted here. Could he leave? Sure. I'm never going to close the window on that. Guys could leave at any time. But I really feel like the gesture itself is what's important here for Indiana. You were already signed through whatever it was, 2026 at $4 million. What's the extra $1 million? He's recruiting at a really high level. He's winning at an unprecedented level, at least in their modern history, outside of a handful of those Bill Mowry years.
Does that look like Archie Miller to you?
Is that the Flock of Seagulls guy? I don't know what that is.
That's Squiggy, I think. Is it Lenny or Squiggy? I think it's Squiggy.
I have no idea because I was born in 1983.
But when you look at that guy, don't you say, yeah, I can see how he looks like Archie Miller? Simply my point.
I don't know, I guess. Sometimes with your Twitter jokes, though, Jake, like mine are just always like hilarious and they pop.
Okay.
Yours, it takes a little.
Well,
like you really have to like think about it.
Exactly.
I don't want to think when I'm on
do have
Twitter.
to
I just want to doom scroll.
I'm very cerebral.
I don't want to think about the meaning behind tweets.
I don't know if you know that I'm cerebral.
Yeah, well, you send a lot of like coded stuff.
I do.
Which, whatever. I mean, it's your account. You can handle that however you want.
You don't think that this right here, you can't even see it on my phone, but I'm telling you, like, you don't think that looks kind of like Archie Miller. I don't think that that's like some knock on Archie. Do we have the picture of Archie Miller with his hair's all tousled?
I don't know.
Look at that.
You want Jordan to find a hair tousled pic
Look
of
at his
Archie
hair
Miller?
there, right? Okay.
Right.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Tell me that he doesn't resemble him. Yeah, see?
Wow, I didn't know we could get that close.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
That kind of looks like you there, doesn't it?
No,
Yeah, it does a little bit.
I don't think so.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. The question becomes, Derek, if Archie Miller is out at Indiana, and certainly, look, Archie Miller, when he was hired, I thought checked all the boxes. He was, would I have liked for Indiana to have made a call to Chris Holtmann? Sure. Or a couple of other names? Sure. But I was okay with it because I'm like, look, they went out. If Archie Miller was the guy that Fred Glass wanted, they got him. He was coming off deep runs with Dayton. He clearly can coach. He knows the game of basketball. He's had success when he got there. So, okay, he checks all the boxes, to use that phrase. I know
he was almost universally regarded as like the next like rising star.
I thought it was a home run hire.
Yeah.
I thought it was a home run hire. For whatever reason, it has not worked out. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't know him well. We've had him on the show. Seemed like a nice guy. And, you know, for somebody who came in and a lot of the areas that you thought he was going to really have an impact, it just hasn't worked out. He's recruited okay in the state, but they haven't complemented that with big-line players. I think you've got to have a mix kind of like nationally big-time recruits with, you know, guys that are going to be four-year players and intermix them. It just hasn't worked.
There are two questions that you can't answer with Indiana basketball because there is no answer. One is, what are they good at? And two is, who are they?
Right.
You know, the answer, I guess you can answer the first one. What is this current Indiana team good at? Nothing. They don't defend, they don't shoot, they don't score. They're not good at anything. You know, his whole identity is supposed to be defense and all of that. Right. Well, you know, the advanced metrics say that defensively Indiana's in the bottom half of the Big Ten. So, you know, if you're going to score 55 points a game, you better defend your you-know-what off in order to win like that. And they don't do that. And what's their identity, Jake? You know what? Purdue, and I know that people get mad at us for always kind of, we talk about Purdue, we bring up Indiana. We talk about Indiana, you bring up Purdue. You know what I mean? But I feel like Purdue is in a place where Indiana needs to be, where you know exactly who they are and what they want to do and what they're about.
You know the difference between Purdue and Indiana, in my opinion? Purdue
has a culture.
Purdue focuses on recruiting the players that are best for the vision of Purdue. Indiana has a focus on recruiting the players that are best for the visions for their fans.
Yeah, I think that
Purdue's like, you know what, Romeo Langford, nothing against Romeo Langford, nice kid, doesn't fit what we want to do. We want to build step by step, piece by piece. He's a one-and-done guy. Indiana can have him. Indiana's like, we got to have him. We got to have him, and we'll do the press conference, and his dad will hold up the IU sock, and all the fans will put on their candy stripers. Woohoo, we're back, baby. Print the T-shirts. Okay, great. He's going to go. He's going to stand in the corner and average 18 a game for 28 games. We're going to go 18-10 during those games, and then he's gone.
And then he'll sit out the NIT. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fit is very important, and Purdue and Painter and his staff have really done a great job finding pieces that fit. And Indiana seemingly hasn't, but I think
Indiana's
a lot
trying
of that
to fit pieces together.
But still, Jake, I think a lot of that has to do with coaching. It's not that Indiana is talentless. You know, Armand Franklin, Trace Jackson Davis, like, these guys are talented players. They just need to be put in the best positions to succeed, and I don't think that's always been the case.
But let's just go to this. Let's assume that, in fact, Archie Miller's out, and I think it's safe to say that if he's not this year, then he probably is next, unless things really turn around, and Trace Jackson Davis is likely gone.
They're not bringing him back.
I'm just saying you have to cover all bases.
Yeah.
Okay? So, in the event that he is back next year, one would assume that it is going to be a rinse and repeat of this season's frustrations, and then he is out, and it's only the financials that were the difference. But if that is not the case, and he is, in fact, as you say, out right now this year, which seems like it would be highly likely at this point, who do you then realistically think become the options for Indiana?
Yeah, you know, realistically, because I think it's important that when we talk about IU basketball, we're really realistic. My top three would be Brad Stevens, Mark Few, and Scott Drew. Okay, you ready for?
You can't even say it without chuckling. Mark Few, by the way, has already turned it down.
A lot of people, multiple times. A lot of people have been mentioning Scott Drew, but Scott Drew's in a very comfortable situation. I don't think people understand, Jake, that Ohio State basketball, to use them as an example, is a great job because if Chris Holtmann falls short, the first thing that fans say is, okay, when's spring football? That's a really comfortable living. You know, it's not 1988 anymore. In 1988, you still had to be at one of these blue bloods to win and be on TV and make money and have a great life. Now you can do all of that at Baylor. You could do all of that at, Iowa if you really want to. And I think it's tougher and tougher for guys to leave comfortable situations, and Scott Drew is in a very comfortable situation. So I don't think that even he is a realistic candidate. I don't know. I don't know who they're going to go for. I really don't. I think specifically with the IU guys, the two names that I think are going to get popped up, Alford always gets popped up, but also I think there is a growing sentiment that maybe Dane Fife is worthy of a shot at this point, much more so than 4 years ago when people felt like he was too young.
Let me address a couple things here. Number one, Scott Drew. I remember when Scott Drew was at Valparaiso. I covered him. They played a game against Purdue, and Valparaiso looked terrible. And he came out, and he's like, first off, I want to apologize to our fans, our alumni, our students. And I was like, man, I like this guy. This guy's cool. And he's young. He's not young anymore, but however, I can tell you, how much so, I don't know.
Skeletons in the closet?
There are concerns about the scrupulous or lack of scrupulous nature in which he's gone about building that program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying those are founded, but there's that chatter is there. And I think that could cause hesitation. The same holds true, but not as much, about Chris Beard at Texas Tech, who I do think Indiana would take a look at. Because Chris Beard was an assistant for Bob Knight at Texas Tech. He's got a Bob Knight connection, although not a Bob Knight Indiana connection. He may be very comfortable staying at Texas Tech. He turned down UNLV to end up at Texas Tech. Maybe he doesn't leave, but my understanding is he has a great affinity for Bob Knight, and in Bob Knight's twilight of life, if he feels like he can go and steady things out where Bob Knight built, that would mean a lot to him. I don't know. I haven't talked to him about that. I don't know him. But maybe that's an assumption by people, a wishful assumption. But I think he would be discussed. Dane Fife, for certain. Alford's name always gets mentioned, as you said. But let me ask you this, Derek. In your opinion, give me the 5 biggest blue blood programs in college basketball history.
Kansas.
Okay.
Carolina.
Hang on. Kansas. Carolina.
Kentucky.
Okay. Kentucky.
Duke. And then really there's a big drop-off after that.
Indiana or Louisville, if you're going all-time?
If I'm going all-time.
UCLA. You got to go UCLA.
Yeah, if I'm going all-time, I'll put UCLA, but UCLA is not the caliber of those top 4 programs.
But that's what all-time it may be.
All-time it is, but
it's all-time. Okay, now,
UCLA is one era.
Give me the signature coach of North Carolina.
It's still Dean Smith.
Right. Who played at?
Did he play at North Carolina?
No, he played at Kansas.
Oh, he did? I never knew that.
Granted, he was an assistant at Carolina, but he was hired and a point guard at Kansas.
Dean Smith went to Kansas?
Yes, he was on the team with Wilt Chamberlain. He was Wilt Chamberlain's point guard.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dean Smith threw alley-oops to Wilt Chamberlain?
Yeah, oh yeah. Behind the back, all kinds of stuff.
Dean
Smith was
never
nasty.
in my life heard
Dean
that.
Smith was out there with he had a camel.
Let's be
hanging
fair
out.
here. You have that knowledge because you have basically a pseudo father-in-law who was very, very close with Dean Smith. So I'm sure you know all of that history.
But how do you not know
and you're old.
And I went to Kansas.
And you went to see. So yeah. So
okay.
I just want our viewers at home to know that. Generally, anytime something like that is brought up on the show, I know, but that's something that I somehow don't know.
Kentucky, most recently, their 2 coaches. The 2 biggest coaches at Kentucky since Adolph Rupp would be who?
Oh, see, I was going to say Rupp, but Pitino and Cal probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rick Pitino, who they hired from, he's a New York City guy. They hired him. He'd been at Providence, right?
And the Knicks, yeah.
And the Knicks. John Calipari. He was at UMass. He was at Pitt. He was at Memphis.
He played at Pitt, right? Or did he
go
to Pitt?
That may
or he's
right.
from Pitt?
Something like that. Yeah.
He's from Pittsburgh. He's from that area, Western PA.
Okay, but at any rate,
yeah.
2 guys there, no ties to
Yep.
Kentucky. Dean Smith, yes, he was an assistant for Frank McGuire, but when he got to Chapel Hill, no ties to Carolina. Duke, Mike Krzyzewski. Did he play at Duke? No. Played at West Point.
Mm-hmm.
Coached at West Point. Hired by Duke. Not a Duke guy. Worked out okay. UCLA, John Wooden.
Yeah, Indiana guy, obviously. Martinsville, Purdue.
Indiana State coach. Yeah. Hired away. UCLA, not a UCLA guy. Bob Knight at Indiana.
Ohio guy.
Ohio guy,
State
Orville,
guy.
Ohio. Played at Ohio State. Not coached at West Point. Not an Indiana guy.
Was Denny Crum tied into Louisville?
Denny Crum, I think, was a John Wooden guy, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, Denny Crum was an assistant for John Wooden.
Okay.
That's why he would. That's why
I was just trying to think of somebody from Louisville
he
since
rolled
we
up
were
the program.
talking about the coaches.
So my point
iconic
being,
coaches.
why is Indiana so like xenophobic that it has to be an Indiana
Well,
guy? What is the importance there?
Jake, the feeling is, and I'm kind of with you. Like I think you should hire the best fit.
Right. You go out and you get the guy.
You've never done that. Ever since Knight, you've never hired the Indiana guy. Mike Davis. I know was elevated from his staff, but he's an Alabama
the Indiana guy that was the can't miss.
I'm just saying they've turned down Alford multiple times. I think that's really the guy.
I mean, I think Alford is a good coach. He's a good coach. Is he? And look, I grew up. I mean,
he couldn't hack it at
crying out
UCLA.
loud.
So
I worship Steve Alford, but growing up, love him. He's my first basketball hero. God, love him, and I think he's a good coach. I think New Mexico or Nevada are the perfect places for Steve Alford as a basketball coach.
Yeah, to me, Alford is basically on the same level of the guy you ran out, which is Crean. To me, those guys are basically on the same tier, and clearly that wasn't good enough for Indiana, right?
If you have to have an Indiana guy, then you go high reward,
you go 5,
moderate risk, and you go 5.
Well, because there's nobody else. I mean, people mentioning like Whitman and Woodson, those guys are pro coaches, and there's a learning curve there, and they're on the backsides, I would think, of their career.
Let me do something here, Derek. That even Calbert Chaney, and I love Calbert Chaney, an assistant for the Pacers, okay? Calbert Chaney, okay, let me ask you. You graduated from high school in what year?
01.
2001. So you were a sophomore, because the key year for a guy getting recruited right now is probably when he's a sophomore, right?
Yeah.
So in your sophomore year, you were a sophomore in 1999, correct?
Yep. What a horrible year that was, but yes.
Okay. A sophomore today was a sophomore. A sophomore today in 2021. Okay. That is 28 years after Calbert Chaney was the college basketball player of the year. Okay. So let me ask you something, Derek. What would it have meant to you to have Artist Gilmore show up in your house in Trumbull, Connecticut?
I mean, I remember I would have known who that was. So I guess it'd be okay, but Artist Gilmore had no relevance to my life.
What about Jamal Wilkes?
I probably wouldn't have known him as much, but same kind of era.
George McGinnis.
George McGinnis didn't really resonate with me until I moved to Indiana, and then I heard about his impact in high school and college.
Those are 3 guys that were college basketball All-Americans 28 years before your sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, the thought that people are just going to flock to play for Chaney is probably misguided. But then again, Juwan Howard has had success at Michigan, but John Beilein is the one that helped turn that around.
But Juwan Howard also 5 years ago was on the same team as LeBron James.
Well, yeah, that probably would help that.
So Juwan Howard can have LeBron James call a recruit for him.
There's no right or wrong answer here, Jake. There's no rhyme or reason. You just have to find the guy, and it's so hard to do. But Illinois found theirs. Who was Brad Underwood?
Right.
Whatever. I mean, okay, he was okay at Oklahoma State or whatever, and he turned. Illinois was in a really bad spot. They were very similar to Indiana, where they were just mediocre and forgettable.
Do you remember when we had Brad Underwood on our show from the Final Four?
Yeah.
And he was great.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Intense.
We're like, this guy's
yeah.
But he was super nice. You remember? I was like, man, this guy, I really hope he does well.
He was intimidating, I thought.
And here they are,
not in like a mean way, but I was like,
but he was very personable.
Yeah. For sure.
We have a ton to get to today, and we've gone an hour and a half on this first segment.
Well, I mean, this is clearly, I think, the biggest topic right now. Before we move into games that count here in the postseason, as we kind of bid adieu to this season for Indiana, this is going to be a constant thing, sort of like the Colts quarterback search was.
I know Purdue fans, you get tired of hearing all about Indiana. I get it. But fair or not, we've gotten to a point now in the college basketball talking cycle in the state of Indiana where Purdue is like Jennifer Aniston, solid, attractive, always reliable, looks good all the time. And Indiana's become one of the Kardashians. Kind of a pain in the ass, just always around. You roll your eyes and you're like, certain times looks great. Other times, like, what in the world are they doing? But for whatever reason, people magnetize towards the Kardashians.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the highway and a Corvette goes by that's blue, speeds by, and you're like, oh, it's a pretty nice-looking Corvette. But if there is an oil tanker that has flopped over and it's on fire, you stop and stare at it. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
On the interstate, you might slow down. You can't stop.
You pull over and stare at it.
You do not pull over.
Say, oh my God,
it's on fire. You can't pull over.
I hope everyone's okay.
Yeah, you are pulling your car over and putting it in park when there's
serious.
an oil tanker on fire.
Oh, yeah.
They're moving traffic around. You're that idiot that you're like, why is traffic bottlenecking and slowing down? Everything's okay. I can see the guy is talking to the police. He's okay. I can see the foam that they put all around it. It's fine. This idiot in his Civic is sitting in the right-hand lane, parked. Probably got your phone out. You got to tweet it out, right? Is that right?
Oh, I wouldn't do something like that, but, I want to spring into action in case they need me.
Okay. Well, how about you spring into action now and let me know where we're going from here?
We're going to talk more hoops.
Because you just threw the car in park in the far right lane.
We're going to get to Purdue, their dominance of Indiana, which continues. Also, NBA All-Star Weekend, and the Pacers actually won something, which is always significant for a Pacer or the Pacers to win.
And 99.9% of all people didn't even know the Pacers were affiliated with it.
That's a mean way to put it. I was trying to get people excited about the tees.
Rah-rah.
So we got plenty of hoops and Colts free agency to get to coming up as we continue. Plenty to get to. Query and Schultz, stick around. ISC Sports Network.
We're a different breed, aren't we? While others rest, we choose to work. Where others are content, we stay hungry. They may not see us coming, but we know exactly where we're going. You won't rest until you succeed. Neither will we.
You can't get enough of them.
You can't get enough of us. Good one, J-Man.
This is the worst scandal. This
is worse than steroid. Not so fast.
Are you going to watch the XFL?
I'll probably watch a little bit of it.
You want to go through and pick some games?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I really don't.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Oh my God! We are ripping fast today.
And how hard can it be, right?
These are now selling for about $3,500. So we're back to our old ways of pulling rocks.
Act like idiots on camera, open cards, and talk about the hobby.
Welcome back to Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network, and always happy to have on board WGU Indiana. WGU is Indiana's largest accredited online university. Did you know that it's been around since 2010? That means now over a decade and over 10,000 lives that have been changed by the very affordable and, again, outstanding education one can receive on their own schedule. That's the beauty of WGU. You work kind of when you want to. You know, maybe the kids have a busy week or other things are going on as life gets in the way, no problem. Online, you do it at your pace with WGU Indiana, where ambition never rests, which is why our friend Sage, the owl,
our friend Corey over there at WGU told me that Sage might be flying in for another in-studio appearance.
That's what I like to hear.
It's currently our background on the Corey and Schultz Facebook page, a photo that I did not approve. But that was
beautiful.
That was way back in September, I think, when WGU
Sage
first hopped
great.
aboard with us. So's WGU. We're excited to have them part of the show. I don't know about the owl.
You know they can turn their head 360 degrees?
I know everything
like
that there is to know about owls, unfortunately. No, come on, let's not.
This is me being an owl. You have to pretend that my body is stationary, and so just pay attention to the head. You ready? Just pay attention to that. Just like this.
Yeah.
Ow. Just like that. You see that?
That doesn't do anything for the viewers at home.
Trust me. 360 degrees of Jake does plenty for the viewers at home.
As you guys know, Purdue's now won 9 straight against Indiana in the series. They've won 12 of 13, and they've won 17 of 22.
9
dating back to 2009. But
not
only that
is the longest streak in series history, is it not?
Oh, is it?
I believe it is.
Well, I know Purdue dominated from like 1902 to this Poland's invasion or Germany's invasion of Poland, Purdue really dominated the series. So I didn't know if there was
If I am not mistaken,
another run like
Indiana's.
that in
I
there.
could be wrong in this, and if I am, please feel free to send me a tweet at Jake Query, JakeQuery. Just do not call me an expletive. I believe that Indiana's longest streak ever against Purdue is 5 games. Purdue now extends its longest streak against Indiana
Well,
at
it
9
shows
games.
how great the rivalry's been, that there
is.
hasn't really been a long era. Purdue had the first quadrant of that, and then I guess, Indiana in the 70s, right, had a good run.
Oh,
Is that
for
when
sure.
it was?
But Katie was very competitive.
But then, Gene Katie actually ended up with more wins. 21-20, I think, was his record against Knight.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Which is another thing of the many things in the series that Purdue fans understandably take pride in. But I think, Jake, kind of escaping the local view of this, Purdue earned the double bye in the Big Ten tournament, which is very advantageous for them to skip that extra game, especially with the depth of the league this year. And with where they sit with a 5-game win streak to end the season, they're looking at like a 4 seed right now. You're putting yourself in position to be a second weekend team, which would be, I shouldn't even say a shocking development, because should we really be shocked with this by now? Like, generally Purdue overachieves. I can only kind of think of a handful of years, last year I guess being one of them, where Purdue has undershot my expectations for them. But once again, here they are, overshooting what people thought for them.
What will they have any sort of it's going to sound crazy, home court advantage in the tournament?
I mean, I guess it depends on where they get sent.
Well, I mean,
I would assume they're not going to play
in Indianapolis. That's where they're going to be
Well,
sent.
no, but I mean, I assume that they're not going to play at Mackey.
Mackey is just the play-in games, is it not?
Oh, is that also a first 2-round site too?
Yes. I believe Mackey, Greg Rakestraw would probably know better than I. I believe
I
Mackey,
know that it's the first 4, but are they also playing first 2-round games there?
Or
no, they're not?
I don't believe
okay,
so.
So then
I
that's
could
off
be
the
wrong
table.
there. Could be wrong.
I'll be honest, I haven't.
Greg would know.
First-round games.
They are playing first-round games?
So there's a
Not
chance.
second, but first-round
Yeah,
games,
so
yes.
Wait, first-round games, is that
They'll play in,
play
and
it?
then
Okay.
first round.
Remember, they consider play-in at one point was considered first-round. Always threw me off. So, okay, so there are first-round games.
Yeah, there was a span of years there, a really forgettable span of years, where we called the first round the second round.
It's so confusing. Yeah, it's
just so dumb.
When you look up some coach's record and it says, like, he went, took his team to the second round of the tournament, you're like, oh.
I don't want to get you into a rant here because I do want to talk about this, but just while we're on this topic, I saw a tweet the other day from, I think it was from the NCAA account. We're releasing the court designs for each place. And I'm like, what court designs? You're not an Office fan, right? There's an episode of The Office where Dunder Mifflin corporate comes in and tells Michael, Steve Carell's character, hey, we're doing commercials for each of the branches. So Scranton and Buffalo and Stanford and all of that, we're going to do commercials. And Michael gets all excited because he's thinking, oh, I get to direct this commercial. So he comes up with this like huge grand idea of like Dwight running a marathon and all this other stuff. And then they come back to him, no, it's the same commercial for each branch, but you get to change the final 2 seconds of it. So you can wave or you can point or you can, do this. But that's all that you have. And that's what it reminded me of, is that the only change is that there's that little itty-bitty splash of color, and it says Lucas Oil Stadium or Mackey Arena on
Let
it.
me give a public service announcement to the NCAA, and then we'll move along. Okay. Dear NCAA, we love you. We love your tournament. We love your madness. We love the fact that we can see schools that we only hear of once every 7 years suddenly rise up. Farley Dickinson, Coppin State, Chattanooga. We love that they're put on the map and all of a sudden given their shot with that sling, if you will, against the big boys. But the other thing we love about the NCAA tournament when we were kids was we loved the fact that it sent us all around spontaneously, the United States of America, and we never knew where it was our TV was going to land for us. Perhaps it was that checkerboard floor of Knoxville, Tennessee. Perhaps it was that blue and white and orange zone of Boise, Idaho. We absolutely loved it, and we learned about these different places and these fun middle market cities throughout the country. And then, like so many things with the NCAA, you had to ruin it. And you came up with these floors that all looked the same. Just a circle in the middle, NCAA, and it wasn't even totally centered in terms of where the lettering was. And then on the baseline, for those of us, for whatever reason, and maybe it's just some weird idiosyncrasy of our personality, that loved thinking about the different cities in which the tournament was being held and feeling like we were getting a vacation to go to places like Spokane and Boise and Albuquerque and Tallahassee. But instead, you put blue lettering on a black background so that if we froze the television, zoomed it all the way in, and really looked closely, we could kind of tell where the game was taking place. It sucks. Go back to the old way.
It does. Speaking of the pit in Albuquerque, I remember Indiana eviscerating UCLA there
Correct.
in the 1992
Correct.
West Regional Final, just tearing them apart, which was as a child, one of my favorite victories. I remember Glenn Robinson, speaking of evisceration, dunking on Greg Ostertag on the orange checkerboard in Knoxville in the South Regional. I remember Tyus Edney going coast to coast against Missouri after they had defeated Indiana in the 8-9 game in 95 for the layup. That was in Boise, wasn't it?
Correct.
And it's just sad
Christian
that
Leitner's shot, where was that?
Which one?
The one against Kentucky.
It was the Meadowlands,
The
wasn't
Meadowlands,
it?
yeah, because it says the Meadowlands, so you know it. Instead of just this generic board floor.
I think the one against UConn was at the Spectrum.
That's right.
I think
that's right, yep. The
which
Tate
was
George shot, right?
The
Flip those.
Or flip
Or the
those.
Spectrum.
Okay.
The Spectrum was Leitner, yeah. And the
So the Spectrum, the shot that people
we
remember
contradict ourselves,
was
but yes,
Philly.
that's
The
right.
Meadowlands was the shot
That's
against UConn in 90.
Yeah, but I mean, when you watch it, you know exactly where it is because it says on the floor where it is.
Sorry, Christian Leitner had so many.
He did.
And I hated him, but so many spectacular moments. It's hard for me to.
Okay, so we're off that rant. What were we supposed to get to?
We got to get to the Pacers, too.
Okay.
By the way, Purdue likely will play Ohio State in their game, whatever that is, quarterfinals or semifinals in the Big Ten tournament.
I love the fact that Purdue, from game to game, has, we now know, and this is what Matt Painter's teams have done, you know who they can kind of go through. But on any given night, they've got a couple of different hands they can ride. And that makes them dangerous. And those guys play well together.
I mean, Zach Edey's a bear. Aaron Wheeler has stepped up. I thought he played really well against Wisconsin, even though, we kind of tossed him out after he didn't make that leap from his freshman to sophomore year that a lot of us, including me, thought he was going to make. But he's become a nice role player for them. And just the freshman class in general has been, Jaden Ivey's a pro. Mason Gillis has been a key player for them. Brandon Newman has stepped up at times. Just a really, really good basketball team with multiple guys contributing.
They're fun.
Yeah.
They're fun.
And that's what you want. Domas Sabonis, congratulations. He is the NBA skills something
That's what
champion.
you were going with. See, Derek, I was thinking, when you said the Pacers have something to be proud of, I thought you were pointing out that Cassius Stanley was in the dunk competition.
Oh, no, but they've had a fair amount of people in there.
Terrence Stansberry.
Glenn Robinson III won it.
Fred Jones.
How about this one?
Jonathan Bender.
There's a guy that actually was a frontline player for the Pacers that no one remembers being in the dunk contest
Paul
because you
George?
didn't really think of him. No, not him.
Jermaine O'Neal?
No. There is a player from the 1990s Pacers that was in the dunk contest.
Antonio Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers it. Go on YouTube and look up Antonio Davis.
Didn't he do like a cartwheel dunk?
No, he did it. Back then, dude, it was all like stupid stuff. Like you throw it off the backboard and slam it in. Now Cassius Stanley basically like puts the ball in his head, flips it around, goes through his leg, and gets a 44.
The problem is there's just no dunk that hasn't been done before.
No, but the bar has been raised so much. The athleticism of these guys.
It's pretty amazing.
It's insane. It's incomparable, really. And then I thought a decently entertaining All-Star game. I get that there's no defense. By the way, Vegas had the over-under at 318. Game finished at 320. Can you believe that? Like those guys that set those lines and how they do that, that's incredible to me.
Yeah.
In an exhibition game, essentially, where there's no defense, just throwing out a number. Let's go with 318. And then Damian Lillard's buzzer beater puts it over. But Giannis with the perfect night.
16 of 16, right?
Pretty good. It didn't feel right because that was supposed to be ours. It was supposed to be here.
Who's the All-Star that's the least All-Star?
This year?
Nationally speaking, other than Domas Sabonis. Who is the NBA
At least
All-Star?
Sabonis has the last name that I think people connect with, and the family heritage.
Who's the NBA All-Star that you're just like, you hear? I'm going to go with a guy that I think he sounds like his name would be the lead singer of a boy band. Zach LaVine.
Yeah, but
Great
he
player.
won the dunk contest,
Great
right?
player.
I think he won the dunk contest.
He's
He's been
averaging
around.
25 and a half a game.
Been
I mean,
around
he's
for a
Very
minute.
good player. Went to UCLA.
I'm just going to look at the roster here. I mean, these are all star players. I mean, I don't know. Does Julius Randle do anything for
That's a good
anybody?
one.
He was a frontline player at Kentucky, I guess.
But, I mean, Zach LaVine is a perennial all. I mean, he's at the point of now being, you would think he's going to be an all-star every year for a while.
Vucevic, because he's in Orlando. Who watches Orlando?
Right.
Even if you have League Pass, I don't think anybody makes the personal choice to watch Orlando.
Fair.
But all these other guys, I mean, Ben Simmons, Chris Paul, Dame,
Yeah, I
Rudy
know.
Gobert.
Harden, Kyrie.
Yeah,
I get
you
it.
know, it's such a star-driven league. It's not like baseball where we would do that on our radio show where we'd be like, 1991 graduate of North Central High School or Major League Baseball All-Star.
That's right.
And admittedly, Jake and I are a little bit out of touch with current baseball because there's no Major League team here. But that's a league that doesn't
Nate
promote
Coffey.
their stars.
Major League All-Star or 91 North Central graduate?
No idea.
Nate Coffey, the late, great Nate Coffey, who just passed away in February, I just learned.
Rockies
a
reliever.
graduate of 1991 North
Oh,
Central
okay,
High
sorry.
School.
I thought you were going to go in a different.
No. Wonderful guy. Fun personality.
Sorry, I feel bad.
He will be missed.
I don't mean to laugh during
No,
that. It's a sad loss.
He's a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing next?
We got our features to get to.
Oh, yeah?
We've got our American Dairy Association of Indiana Winners Drink Milk, the shop, and Biter Bowl Bleep. You see the T-shirts up here. We've got Love HVAC's Love That Play, so we're going to get to that as well. And also the Royal Interview, which I almost led the show with because it is big news.
Okay.
Is Meghan being honest, being dishonest? Is she driving a wedge in the royal family? And what could be the future of the British monarchy? Jake and I will discuss all of those topics coming up later on in the show. It's Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network, Governor.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
We're a different breed, aren't we? While others rest, we choose to work. Where others are content, we stay hungry. They may not see us coming, but we know exactly where we're going. You won't rest until you succeed. Neither will we.
Welcome back to Query and Schultz here on ISC Sports Network. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm the very handsome Derek Schultz, and the very adequate Jake Query is here as well. This portion of the show brought to you by our friends at Love Heating and Cooling, Love HVAC, love-hvac.com.
Adequate.
353-2141. That's a 317 area code. They've been around since 1920. So
They're
full
beyond adequate, by the way.
hundo plus years, 101 for Love Heating and Cooling.
Okay.
You're going to get mad at me because I said heating and cooling?
No, I'm actually just admiring your adequate baseball sleeves.
Yeah, it looks Old Navy. This was clearance.
How much was that?
This was $5. Old Navy you can usually find cheaper buys, but they don't last as long. Banana Republic clearance is the best one. Men's Banana Republic clearance because that stuff holds up a little bit.
This is Roots.
Yeah, you the shirt that you bought for my son from Canada, from Roots, he's finally able to fit into now, and he likes it very much.
Yeah, Roots is cool. Roots is very cool. Love-HVAC.com, as Derek had mentioned, 317-353-2141. Over 100 years in Central Indiana is Love Heating and Air, dedicated The customer service, great product, knowledge of product, of course, that's the important thing, and 24-hour maintenance, which is good.
You got a pick for this week?
Our favorite Love That Play. I will go with, did yours happen to take place over the weekend?
Yes.
Did it take place towards the end of the weekend?
Yes.
Did it take place towards the end of the event at the end of the weekend?
It was in the middle of the event.
Okay, then you stick with yours. I will go with, quite frankly, just because I thought it was kind of a fun way to end it. You knew that 170 was the benchmark in the NBA All-Star Game, and look, I know that it's no defense, et cetera, but for guys to be able to hit consistently when you're in the zone from that far out, those are tough shots, man. Steph Curry and Damian Lillard going back and forth, even though they're on the same team with deep shots, and then Damian Lillard winning, and I know it's the All-Star Game and whatever else, but winning the All-Star Game on like a 35-foot pull-up, I thought was cool when you knew you needed three, and that was the three he got. I will give that for my Love That Play.
Yeah, he's an incredible player. I think someday will be a Hall of Fame player. And just another reason why I wish we wouldn't view individuals in team sports so harshly when it comes to championships. Because Damian Lillard might not ever win an NBA championship, but man, on the list of players that have been the most fun to watch for me since like 2010, he's easily in the top 5.
Yeah. And when he catches lightning in a bottle.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And winning time and all of that. I mean, he's kind of a modern-day Reggie Miller. I mean, that's his brand, that when he's got the ball in his hands, look out. I'm actually going to take Cassius Stanley's dunk because I thought it was criminally
– I figured you'd go with Sabonis.
I thought it was criminally underrated at a 44, and I think why it was underrated, Josh Smith gave it an 8, is because he made it look so easy. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody jump as easily as he can jump. And it just kind of underlines, like, Cassius Stanley isn't even at the point in his career where he can get into an NBA game. Yet he can do that. And for me, the NBA has always been number one for me because you have guys like that who are not even NBA right now, at least. I know he's on a roster, but right now, an NBA player.
Fair point.
And the athleticism it's just mind-boggling, and we've become, like, desensitized to it. The fact that he can do that and go through his legs and dunk. I mean, in 1993, as a 10-year-old, if I would have seen that on my screen, I would have had a brain aneurysm. I wouldn't be here because I would have died of shock.
You'd have had a brain aneurysm.
I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit hyperbole. Yeah, I probably would have passed out.
Those are very serious issues.
I probably would have passed out.
Okay.
Just from shock that, oh, my God, like he did that? You know, Stolman, you met Stolman, the best man at my wedding. Yeah. We had rotating sleepovers every other year at our house for NBA All-Star Weekend where we basically watched all the events Saturday night and then into Sunday night. And we wrote on legal pads. We wrote down the results.
Did you go home?
And then when Microsoft Office came out in like 1993 or whatever, we would go on his computer and create Excel spreadsheets and type out the results. And then we'd print them out and bring them to school and show people. And we just had a ton of friends. People just thought it was the coolest.
Chicks pretty impressed by that?
Yeah. I mean, mostly we would talk to other guys because at 10, it was hard to approach girls. Cooties and all of that.
Katie Koleski pretty into
she didn't go to
knowing
Middlebrook.
Exactly what J.R. Ryder's dunk score was.
She went to Jane Ryan, I think, so she didn't go to Middlebrook.
So when you would do these Saturday, Sunday sleepovers for All-Star Game, so Saturday night you're up all night, you're watching the dunk contest, et cetera.
3-point shootout.
Right.
Deal.
And then you fall asleep.
Yep.
You get up Sunday, you probably make pancakes, right?
Yeah, Mindy, his mom, would make pancakes.
Mindy.
Well, he was in their house, he called his mom by her first name.
That's not weird at all.
Yeah. She wanted to be called Mindy, so he and his older sister, Allie, would call her Mindy.
What were you spending the night at Bill or Ted's?
No, I mean, she was the cool mom.
Okay. So then would you go home and then come back for the All-Star Game itself on Sunday night, or how did you do that?
No, I mean, most of the time during the day to kill time, we'd watch WWF VHSs. So I remember we watched SummerSlam that was on tape. One of those times. We watched we watched 3 Royal Rumbles consecutively.
So you did not go home Sunday
and then we
either.
watched the NBA All-Star Game. Well, my house was biking distance, so I think I might have gone home a couple of times.
Distance.
But a lot of times we made it the whole weekend.
But the All-Star Game then would end at like 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, and you're a 10-year-old. You got to get up in the morning for school.
Yeah.
Did you stay up the whole time? Or
No, I stayed over there, and then the school bus stop wasn't far from – it was kind of in between our houses, so I'd walk over to the bus stop. Problem is that if I skipped all of that, then I wouldn't have showered. But I would take care of that later on, like Monday night.
I'm sure that was an issue with the babes when you were telling them about J.R. Ryder's dunk score.
Here's my spreadsheet.
Yeah.
What's that smell? I don't know.
All right, fair enough. Anyway, we have still to get to Winners Drink Milk from the American Dairy Association.
And,
right?
of course, what people are waiting for, Corey and Schultz's opinion of the Royal Interview. It's a big deal.
Okay.
Very, very big deal. Earth-shattering stuff.
So we'll do that next.
We'll do that.
It's like a 4-hour show today.
ISC Sports Network. Stick around.
We're a different breed, aren't we? While others rest, we choose to work. Where others are content, we stay hungry. They may not see us coming, but we know exactly where we're going. You won't rest until you succeed. Neither will we.
You can't get enough of them.
You can't get enough of us. Good one, J-Man.
This is the worst scandal. This
This is worse than steroid. Not so fast.
Are you going to watch the XFL?
I'll probably watch a little bit of it.
You want to go through and pick some games?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I really don't.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Oh my God! We are ripping fast today.
And how hard can it be, right?
These are now selling for about $3,500. So we're back to our old ways of pulling rocks.
Act like idiots on camera, open cards, and talk about the hobby.
Welcome back to Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. My name is Jake Query. That is Derek Schultz. And apparently, Derek, before we get to the American Dairy Association Winners Drink Milk Winner of the Week, you want to talk about the Royal family.
Yeah, you watched it. So what were your reactions? Anything that really kind of stood out to you about the interview?
Oprah Winfrey is great at what she does. She always has been. There was one time where she did this. It looked contrived to me.
Yeah.
Like if I told you something right now that was completely shocking, would you go?
Yeah, probably not. But then again, I just said that I'd have a brain aneurysm during the dunk contest in 1993, so I don't know.
When you said that, did I go?
We do say hyperbole. Yeah.
No. How much truth was she telling? I have no idea. Was she saying things? I will say this. The one thing I would say, I didn't pay very close attention to it. I understand that people are captivated by the royal family. I get it. It's the legacy of Princess Diana. I was alive during her wedding. I remember I spent the night at Andy Burt's house, like you and Stolman. Not for that, but the night before the royal wedding, and his sister Marla Burt she dressed in a veil and the whole deal, I think. It was a huge deal when Diana and Charles got married. First off, I'm not certain. I don't think Harry really is.
There's been a lot of talk about that. Not of Charles and Diana.
I don't believe that he's the blood of the royal family.
Yeah,
but
been a lot of well, at least one of them.
Well, but Diana is not blood.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
She kind of is, but
yeah.
But at any rate, I just don't care. I don't care about the royal family at all. I don't understand why we do.
So I'm surprised you didn't bring this up because I thought probably the most interesting thing of it is kind of the rift that developed between the Duchess of Cambridge and the Duchess of Sussex. Because you think, okay, they're sister-in-laws, right? They shouldn't really have like this big split, and they've been photographed together as friendly. And, of course, people know who I'm talking about. Duchess of Sussex, obviously, is Meghan Markle, and of Cambridge is Kate Middleton. That's her royal title.
Now, that Kate Middleton, is she a Brit? Is she also American?
No, she's a Brit.
Okay.
Yeah, but
She's the one that had
Megan's from California or something.
Kate Middleton's the one that has the sister that everybody thought was cute.
Pippa Middleton, yes.
Okay.
So, and the rift, I guess, started during the second royal wedding when Meghan Markle chose the flower girl dresses, and Princess Charlotte of Cambridge, who is Kate's daughter, Kate was unhappy with the choice for the bridal shower, or not the bridal shower, sorry, the bridal party dresses. She was the flower girl. And so there was a little bit of an issue there, and the tabloids picked that up, and they reported that Meghan had made Kate cry, but it turns out that the Duchess of Cambridge was the one, according to the Duchess of Sussex, that made her cry. So it was the other way around. But despite these, according to Meghan's erroneous reports, Kate did not go to bat with her with the British tabloids. So I can understand why that would create a rift, because I'm thinking to myself, why don't you have my back on this? I mean, you know, I know we had that little tiff about the flower girl dresses, but they said this and this wasn't true. You know that isn't true. Why can't you defend me on this? You know what I mean? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Did they happen to give an update during it on the Tanzanian stock market?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, because that would be as of much interest to me as everything you just said.
I don't know if I wanted to talk about this kind of publicly. You know, we've mentioned, you know, part of the reasons for our layoff at the radio station. You know, it was a reduction in force, and yes, there was a lot of stuff that we couldn't control. But I did talk to one of the upper echelon people at iHeart, and they said, you know, part of the reason we made the decision, Derek, had nothing to do with you. It was Jake's lack of enthusiasm for show topics. That's what they said.
Okay.
That's what they said, point blank. They said, you know, you did try to kind of invigorate the show with topics and issues that viewers and listeners wanted to hear about.
You know,
and you kind of had a wet blanket next to you.
The one thing that I got the gist of during when I was kind of peripherally in passing watching this interview was that the Queen, the Queen is on a throne, right? And that Meghan Markle and Harry were squeezed out because there were some things going on that they were concerned didn't uphold to the image of the Queen. And that no matter what happened, the Queen was going to get hers. And it was like, you guys go on about your way, and Harry and Meghan had to go off into the sunset, and thankfully he had some savings from inheritance from his mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they get like a stipend, I think, or something.
So basically, at the place where we once worked, we were part of like 3,000 people that were Meghan and Harry. We were sent off to get ours. You're not going to affect us because we have the people on the throne that are not going to be affected, and they're still going to get their $42 million bonus. We were just a collateral damage with little things like what color dress we were wearing as the flower people. It's cool, right?
I only really have one problem with
I don't
that
care
analogy,
about that when it's other people's drama. Number one, but the one thing that I thought was interesting, and I give him a lot of credit for it. I don't follow it closely, but Princess Diana got married to Charles when I was 10. She was killed when I was 24, something like that. Fatally injured, if you want to say killed.
97?
97. So I was 25, I think, just shy of my 25th birthday. I think she did a remarkable job raising those two boys. And I think Harry, the thing that's fascinating, and I have no idea if they got into this on that show because I didn't watch it that closely, but the public spotlight that Princess Diana was under all the time took a significant toll on her. And I think that Harry saw that it was taking a similar toll on Meghan Markle and wanted to protect his wife out of respect to the struggles of his mother. I have no idea if that was touched upon.
I think it comes from a genuine place, but it's a lot of blowback because this is thousands of years of tradition that they're hurting here, right? It's a lot like the mob, where you have to do everything for the good of the family. And anything that is perceived as bad for the family gets dealt with.
Aren't you?
And a lot of people think
your East Coast roots coming out here, Derek.
That maybe Princess Di got dealt with.
You spent a lot of time in Connecticut.
Theory.
I mean, you ferrying back and forth to LI.
I'm just telling you from intimate knowledge. I've seen every episode of The Crown and The Sopranos, so I kind of I'm an expert on this.
Okay.
On this sort of topic. By the way, one problem with your analogy with iHeart, instead of Meghan and Harry, I would be Kate. Attractive, universally beloved. Like, that's who I would be in that analogy.
And I'm what?
Oh, I don't know. Who's the redhead, right? Harry. Yeah. He's fine. He looks like Carson Wentz.
He does.
Ready for our Winner's Drink Milk winner of the week?
I am.
It's brought to you by our friends at the American Dairy Association. Sorry, I'm blocking my microphone. Of Indiana. I have the milk facts somewhere.
Right here.
Perfect.
Milk facts.
So, Jake, you have low-fat chocolate milk. I have good old 2%. But your low-fat chocolate milk has as much calcium as 10 cups of raw spinach, as much potassium as a banana, and as much vitamin A as 2 boiled eggs. It's a great workout recovery drink from two guys who work out. You can take our word from it. winnersdrinkmilk.com for more milk facts and details.
I am worried that I'm going to be redundant here. Your winner, when was the victory? When did it take place?
It was also, we're taping this on Monday morning, last night.
Okay, then I will go with one that took place on Saturday. I will give it to the Purdue Boilers, but notably, I'll give it to Derek. Which Boilermaker do you think I'm going to give it to?
Zach Edey kind of ate it. I used
Correct.
lunch.
Zach Edey, to do what he did, what do you have, 20 points, 9 boards? This is a guy that was a hockey player 2 years ago that had never even really gotten into playing basketball. He comes from Canada. Look, that's a challenge in itself just to acclimate as a young man to a completely new place like that. I went far away from home my freshman year of college. It was a total disaster. It was like the Hindenburg. There's a lot of acclimation period that takes place, and you're playing a new game like that, and now you are in a rivalry game, stepping up with those kinds of numbers and making the difference, in particular when you are playing on the same area of the floor as the best player on your opponent's team, and Trace Jackson-Davis for Indiana, who also had a good game. But still, kudos to the Boilermakers and to Zach. Winners Drink Milk, American Dairy Association winner of the week. And many of those dairy farmers, I would assume, might be graduates of Purdue's agriculture program.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of big feeder system for that. My pick is Giannis.
The feeder system is oats and hay and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Then they vomit it up and then they chew it. They chew their cud.
I mean, that's true. They have like 7 stomachs or something like that, right?
What, are you uncomfortable with this? You're the one that brought up what cows eat.
Cow is my first
chew
word.
On their vomit as well.
Okay. It's like Derek's college days all over again.
What are we doing?
Okay.
Yeah, what are we doing with this show?
Did you yacked at your bachelor party? I know that.
I safely pulled the trigger into a trash receptacle
Well,
on the
yacked.
bus.
You yacked.
No, you're making
the night
it
was
sound
over.
like I had it coming out of my nostrils like in the middle of the bar or something like that. I did the responsible thing. I was feeling ill. I think I had a 24-hour bug, to be totally honest with you.
Okay.
I don't even think that it was fully alcohol related.
Oh, really?
And so I did the responsible thing.
When I showed up at your bachelor party after your entire bachelor party was begging me to come, I got there and you guys were at bar number 2 and you were shadow boxing in the alley by yourself doing this.
That first off, I don't remember that happening, so I don't think that
exactly.
happened.
And then you said that you decided that you wanted to go to a gentleman's club or
No,
somebody. In your defense, somebody.
It was a co-bachelor party.
Somebody in the group was like, "Oh, we got to go to a gentleman's club, whatever." So the decision was made that that's where the party was going to go, and you guys had a little bus you'd rented.
A limousine.
I didn't want to crash.
It was a lime-colored school bus.
So myself and one other mutual friend of ours who brought his wife.
Yeah, God, Rolando.
So
God love him, but
so he brought his wife to the bachelor party, and the 3 of us drove to the gentleman's establishment waiting for you. And we're waiting, and I'm literally like warding off like the 9th different offer to buy someone a $28 fruit drink. No, we're just waiting on a bachelor party. And then Rolando says, we're done. I said, what do you mean? He goes, Derek just texted me. He yacked. That was it.
pulled the trigger responsibly is how
okay.
I would say it.
Okay.
My pick is Giannis. I don't care if you're playing pickup ball on, in your backyard. 16 of 16 from the field is stupid.
Impressive.
Is stupid. 35 points. And another guy kind of like Lillard, who I hope we're going to appreciate even if he doesn't win any team championships because he's an incredible player. One of the 3 or 4 best players on the planet right now.
Right.
And I really enjoy watching him. And I'm glad that, he's brought some success to Milwaukee. And
that's the cool thing.
I hope
the fact
that's a
that he's going to stick around there for a while is cool.
I mean, I hope so.
He's loved there,
We'll see.
man.
Those things change almost immediately.
Right.
So I'm almost hesitant to say that it's ever going to be a long-term thing with anybody.
He's cool, dude.
Yep.
Do you know how to say his last name?
Antetokounmpo.
There are a million different theories on this.
Adetokounmpo.
I think that's. I always heard Adetokounmpo.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I heard Antetokounmpo for a while, and then it became suddenly
it's changed
Adetokounmpo.
a couple times. Are we doing Biter Bullschultz next?
Yep. Our friends at the Shop Indy have that sponsored, so we'll get to our most popular segment.
The new
last.
yellow script Indiana shirt there.
And we will wrap up the show when we return. Square and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Uh-oh, wait a minute, Derek.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
We're a different breed, aren't we? While others rest, we choose to work. Where others are content, we stay hungry. They may not see us coming, but we know exactly where we're going. You won't rest until you succeed. Neither will we.
I didn't get a chance. I was not quick enough on the draw to hold up. I like this shirt from the shop. This is one of their, I'm assuming this is like their Pacers ABA collection, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know this or not, Derek, about me, but I love Indiana. I just love everything about Indiana.
I didn't know that about you.
The shop, of course, 920 Broad Ripple Avenue or in Clay Terrace or theshopindy.com. Fabulous T-shirts from nostalgic nature throughout Indiana. Whether it be your favorite sports teams, college, they've got it. Professional, defunct teams, you know, the obviously Indianapolis Ice,
Racers.
Indianapolis Chiefs, they occasionally have some things from. The Racers are fabulous. And then different players. Absolutely wonderful at the shop. And high-quality T-shirts as well. Again, theshopindy.com, 920 Broad Ripple Avenue, or in Clay Terrace. And they sponsor Buy It or Bullschultz, the wildly unpopular and now shockingly sponsored program of this show. Part of this program, I should say.
Yeah, it's so wildly unpopular that it keeps getting sponsored, Jake. Amazing how that works. I give a statement. Jake and I go back and forth whether we buy it or we think it's bull bleep. You ready?
Sure.
This is an all-college basketball edition of Buy It or Bull Bleep. Okay. You're getting in my shot. I don't reach into
all day.
I don't reach into your shot. Okay. Do not do that again.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to be firm. College basketball will have a first-time.
Sorry. Just getting into your shot. COVID friendly.
What is this?
Okay. Well, Derek, I saw highlights of a high school basketball game in Southern Indiana, and COVID doesn't exist, so I just figured I'd go ahead.
I don't think this works for COVID either. But
well, have you seen the high school basketball gyms?
College basketball will have a first-time national champion this year. Buy it or bull bleep?
Boy, first-time national champion. Of the teams that would certainly be, like, jump out at you, I mean, Gonzaga and Baylor, 1 and 2 in the country, right?
Yep.
Then after that, the teams that I think look really good. Michigan looks very good. Ohio State looks good. Illinois looks good for that matter.
But Michigan and Ohio State are both former national champions.
Well, I know. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm trying to think of who else would be. So
Has West Virginia won one? Did they ever win a national title?
No, West Virginia lost with Jerry West, right?
Yeah, I thought they've always been talked about as one of the better programs to never win one, right?
So, okay, so West Virginia will put in the mix. So basically, West Virginia, Baylor, Gonzaga, or the field.
Alabama? Have they ever won a basketball title?
Alabama's good.
I'm just looking at the top 10 right here, so I'm just taking some of those schools.
I'll tell you, Gonzaga's really good. I mean, they're really good, Derek. I know that they're in that league where it's difficult to assess how good they are. but they're going to have to win 6 games. And they're really well coached. They've got size at multiple positions. I know that Indiana fans don't want to see somebody do it, but I think this could be the year.
Yeah, and you know what? Like they proved that in November and December. I mean, they hung a hundo on Iowa. They destroyed UVA. They beat Kansas. They beat West Virginia. You know, Gonzaga did enough in the non-league to be like, wow, this team is really for real. I don't need to see them beat up on Pepperdine in San Francisco. You know, it sucks that they're in the league that they're in, but I think they did more than enough in the first 6 weeks of the season to prove that they're for real. I'm going to say yes. You take the travel element kind of out of it for these teams where they're sticking around for the 6-game run. There's a lot of unknown when it comes to this, Jake. You know, we're all kind of trying to figure out how this is going to look because it's completely unprecedented. But personally, I feel like this is more – a lot of people are saying, oh, this is more driven for upsets and all of that. And I think it's actually kind of going to go the other way. I think we're going to be more in line to see a chalky NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
and I think that helps Gonzaga.
If Gonzaga is going for – like, you take Kentucky, Kentucky's going for an undefeated season. They're here. They're at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's packed. The crowd's frenzied. As the game is going on and you realize Wisconsin's got a puncher's chance here, the atmosphere and the moment tenses you up where players are like, oh, my gosh, like there's so much at stake here. That onus goes on the team that is the expected. That pressure goes on the team that's the expected. That goes away now, and it literally is just basically basketball at the hyper. Advantage more talented team.
Statement 2.
I think Gonzaga will win it.
Yeah, and that sounds really cheeseball that both of us are going to pick Gonzaga to win it because they've been the best team all year, but that's how good I think they are.
Yeah.
Statement 2, the Big Ten will have multiple Final Four teams. Buy it or bowl bleep. Got a lot of contenders in there. Obviously, Illinois and Michigan. You know who's playing really well and who I thought was going to start their usual fade and they didn't? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I was playing really, really good basketball right now.
Yeah, I'll say they get 2. I don't know how they're going to divvy up the regions, 1, 2, 3, 4, et cetera. You know, they may load up Big Ten all in one region.
Michigan's going to be a 2 and Illinois is going to be a 1, so they're not going to be put in the same region.
And Ohio State's really good, man. I'll tell you where Ohio State's good.
Purdue's got a chance. If everything broke the right way, Purdue's got a chance to be a Final Four team.
The area where Ohio State has a big advantage is the fact that Ohio State has not one but 2 different guys late in games that handle the ball regularly that are 90% free throw shooters. And in the tournament, that is huge. So I like what Chris Holtman's done. But, yes, I think, sure, 2 Big Ten teams in, yeah. Gonzaga, 2 Big Tens, and I don't think Baylor will make it. I think Baylor will lose in the regional finals.
I don't think anybody
What's Florida?
wants
What's Florida
to play
done?
Illinois.
It's time for a Florida run, isn't it?
Florida State. Well, Florida State just lost to Notre Dame, but
Not
they're
Florida
pretty
State,
good.
but Florida. Yeah, Florida State's not bad,
Yeah?
but Florida.
I don't actually know where
Florida's
Florida's
probably
at.
like 5-18.
I don't think they're 5-18. I feel like I would have heard.
Everybody in college basketball this year, I don't know if anybody's noticed this or not, everybody in college basketball, 15-9. Everyone. What's Florida?
Sure feels like that. Let's go to Florida here. You know, the SEC is a little weird this year because Alabama's been so good. Florida is 13-8.
I mean, we're due for a Florida run.
What a weird year in the SEC where I know LSU has had some basketball success in the past, but their top 4 is Alabama, Arkansas, LSU, and Tennessee. I guess it's just so weird to not see Kentucky at the top, right? Because they've dominated that league really forever.
Kind of good to see Arkansas back with a pulse.
Yeah, that's a proud basketball program that had a great run when you and I were at the peak of our college basketball watching.
Todd Day
probably.
and Lee Mayberry and Oliver Miller.
And then into the Corliss Williamson, Scotty Thurman teams that almost won back-to-back titles.
Yeah.
So a lot of good squads there. Third and final one, and we actually kind of touched on this earlier in the show, so I already know what your answer is going to be. Indiana's next head basketball coach will be an IU guy. Buy it or bowl bleep? Actually, your personal opinion is that it shouldn't be an IU guy, but this is just, will it be an IU guy?
I'll say that's Bull Schultz, and I don't think it will be a huge splash hire.
I'm going to buy it, and I think that
Dolson's pretty tied in with a lot of guys.
Yes, and so I think he'll be feeling, not that he should conduct his job based on feeling pressure from anything. You know, he's got to make these decisions and he's got to own it himself. But I think there will be some importance to, you know, it kind of felt like after the Crean deal went down that people would have been happy with just about anybody. Right. Because there was a lot of Crean fatigue. And then there were some Crean fans that were really upset about him moving on, that were going to be upset with whoever it was. This time it just kind of feels like if you got some no-name in there, fans would be like, oh, see, God, we're doing this again. Here's Archie Miller Part 2. Whereas if it was, let's say, Fife, then I think people would at least try to talk themselves into it. I don't know. To me, the coaching hire it feels different this time around, that people are going to be more embraceful, if that's even a word, of an IU, at least somebody with ties to the program, because they've really never gone down that road in the 20 years post-Knight.
I think that's the mentality that limits you.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just telling you what I think they're going to do. I'm not telling you that it's right or wrong.
When you build a house, you don't build the ceiling first.
I learned that with this show. We built the basement, then the first floor, and the second floor, third floor. Guest suite. We haven't even reached the roof, my man. We're still building.
The roof is the ceiling.
Build this show every day. CoreyandSchultz.com, YouTube.com/CoreyandSchultz, ICSportsNetwork.com. Also, podcast available on all major platforms, iTunes, Spotify. So regardless of how you're listening to us or watching us, thank you. Thank you for supporting the show, and we're having a lot of fun. This is number, I think, 26.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's almost as long as we've lasted in radio.
What do you mean? We lasted 8.5 years in radio. We've been doing this for like 6 months.
Feels like 8.5 years.
Okay. Well,
got to sit in the same room with you this time.
Every program flies by for me, and I know it does for our crew. I mean, Jordan and Wes and Rake, everyone is fully engaged on everything that we're talking about.
They were ready to leave an hour ago. You started talking about the royal wedding, and they're ready to flush
No,
it.
see, I disagree. I think that they were really interested in that, as were our viewers and listeners. Thanks so much to all our great sponsors, American Dairy Association Indiana, WGU Indiana, The Shop, Love HVAC, love that play, and for you guys for listening, watching, and supporting the show. We will be back next week with another scintillating edition of Corey and Schultz.
We are ripping fast today.
How hard can it be, right?
These are now selling for about $3,500. So we're back to our old ways of pulling rocks.
Act like idiots on camera, open cards, and talk about the hobby.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
We're a different breed, aren't we? While others rest, we choose to work. Where others are content, we stay hungry. They may not see us coming, but we know exactly where we're going. You won't rest until you succeed. Neither will we.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
We're a different breed, aren't we? While others rest, we choose to work. Where others are content, we stay hungry. They may not see us coming, but we know exactly where we're going. You won't rest until you succeed. Neither will we.